Typing a search term into a text field and hitting enter may be the most reflexive thing we all do on the web. But because a designer was not involved when FitchConnect's search functionality was conceived and implemented, this simple workflow was never accounted for. Users can either enter a term into the global search field and select from among the choices offered, or delve headlong into FitchConnect's advanced search feature, which can be daunting to say the least. Here you can enter a search term and click enter, but by now you're at least 3 clicks in and trying to make sense of having to enter your global search terms into a separate search field. There is no workflow for hitting the enter key in the primary global search field. The enter key does nothing. To highlight the true nature of this problem for our internal stakeholders in the fall of 2020, I built this prototype in Axure that facilitates the enter key workflow. And to be sure, this was still very much a work in progress as of this video in the summer of 2021. Why all the boxes on the right? They solve 2 problems. First, and not unimportantly, the boxes fill what would otherwise be extra space with useful content. Google understands this and avoids empty space on the first page of almost any list of results. But as we dig deeper into Google's results, we see the kind of pages some of us remember from the late 90s. Results on the left and nothingness on the right. In fairness, resolutions were smaller back then. Google has the resources to populate this side of the screen with all kinds of cross-referenced feature material. But in an enterprise application such as FitchConnect, filling this space relies on our second intersecting rationale for exposing these boxes: categorization. As we see here, search results have been pre-categorized for the user in this busy flyout. But to change categories after a search is underway, from, for example, entities to research, the user must know to use this out-of-the-way little drop-down. Entities, research. And to make matters worse, when the user already has a search term in context, switching categories this way clears the search term, causing the user to have to start all over again. That's assuming she's not lost by now anyway. We're not seeing results for Brazil anymore, just because we've switched categories. But with the new design proposed in this prototype, the user's workflow is more like Google's, with categories of results along the top. Entities, issues, events, research. Some of these are fancy financial terms. And flipping back to Google, we see the parity. Categories are exposed across the top of the page in exactly the same fashion. All, news, maps, etc. However, categories in small type across the top is still pretty subtle. And we want to ensure that our users understand that on a platform as expansive as FitchConnect, their search terms will always populate results across multiple categories when they hit the enter key in the search field. So those same categories initially appear as large engaging boxes that only show on the main results page. Each box has an enticing hover state that tells the user a little bit more about what the criteria is for each category on hover. The pages these boxes link to are next on the hit list for redesign. As you can see, they retain the legacy look and feel. But we can switch between entities and research much more easily without losing our search term, Brazil. By creating this prototype and sharing the link out with stakeholders to interact with on their own schedule, I was able to both highlight a problem and demonstrate a viable solution. This is Eric Lohr, and as always, thank you for your interest.